Hi, good evening, everyone. Some of you know me and some of you don't. I'm Randy Stevenson, the head of Corvuss American Academy, and we're so happy that you're joining us for our track and field webinar this evening. We have two special guests that are going to be joining us from the US. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Coach Sean. He's going to talk a little bit about himself, his experiences, as well as the NCAA opportunities, the college opportunities in the US. He's also going to talk a little bit about managing in these difficult times.
My name is Sean McManus. I'm a coach and advisor here in the United States, based out of California. My background was as a student athlete in the field of in the sport of track and field. I was a high school and collegiate athlete, and because of my ability to balance those academic and athletic demands during high school, I was able to parlay that into an opportunity to compete at a very high level at the university. So I competed at the University of Notre Dame, and I was able to study civil engineering and compete throughout my undergraduate experience there. So it was that kind of was the basis for the rest of my life, really. So yeah, after my studies in engineering, I worked in engineering for a little while and realized my passion truly was in athletics, and had the opportunity to go back to my alma mater and start coaching. So I coached at Notre Dame for a handful of years and started to build my resume there coaching, and started coaching some pretty high level athletes there. When those folks graduated, I was able to continue coaching them in a professional capacity, and that was kind of the infancy of the business that I run now, which is Threshold Athletics. We formed a club and had some of those athletes, and we're able to take them to the highest levels. So pushed a handful of those athletes, not only from the Notre Dame teams, but also the teams I coached at my next coaching stop, which was at Florida State. And we took athletes from England, Ireland, Canada, to Olympic competitions, world championships, European championships. Altogether, I think we had 4 Olympians and 19 or 20 national champions at different places around the globe. So pretty proud of the accomplishments that we had there. A handful of years ago, decided to switch gears and really focus on the younger generation. So we're working now with high school age kids, grade 9 through 12, to help them not only with their coaching, but also to help them with placements into the universities, finding the best fit for what their goals are, not only athletically, but academically. Saying we want to take a younger generation of Indian athletes, give them opportunities that are there, that they're certainly qualified and prepared for, but may not know quite or have the access really to quite get to those levels of NCAA competition. Yeah, so there's about 1,500 universities in the United States that fall under the umbrella of the NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletics Association. It's kind of our governing body for sport at the university level here in the United States. So Division I for track and field is about 350 universities. Those are all of your big time sports. The major ones are called the Power 5 conferences. There's about 50 or 60 schools that fall in there. Those would be your Florida States, your Notre Dames, your California, your University of California, UCLA, those kind of large profile institutions. Those would be Division I. Those schools do offer scholarships. Division II would be kind of your smaller state schools. Maybe athletics is not quite as big a profile. And then Division III, those are not exclusively, but oftentimes those are your smaller private schools, and those do not offer scholarships, but I mean, they can have really strong athletic profiles as well, because the academic draw to those institutions is so large that folks want to go there. So those would be like your MITs, your Williams College, a lot of the really strong institutions, particularly on the eastern part of the United States. Caltech, a lot of those technical, really strong academic schools might be division. Our goal with Corvuss is to find opportunities that match the needs of the student athlete individually. I've conducted surveys with hundreds of schools across the country to see what athletic and academic profile they seek through their athletic recruiting opportunities, because through athletics, with the aid of athletics, if you're a good athlete, you may have the opportunity have a slightly easier admission standard, because the sports teams are given a handful of spots every year that they can recruit kids. Maybe it takes a 1580 out of 1600 to get into MIT on your own. That means you might miss one question on the entire SAT. Well, it may only take I say only, it's still a very high score, but it may take a 1500 if you have an athletic profile that matches what the school's looking for.
Let's say you call a coach at Williams College or NYU, we have a student, 100-meter female runner. Does that happen? Can you sort of tell me the process?
In some ways, track and field recruiting is easy because our sport's so objective. You run a 100-meter race, you do the long jump, and you get a mark. So, you can look up, in results and see what a student's best performance is, and it's an individual situation. So it's a little bit easier in some regards to know what you're getting with a recruit in track and field, as opposed to basketball or football, where they're part of a team and you have to really dissect their play, by video. So we're fortunate in that regard. But there's so many athletes worldwide, particularly those coming. Historically, the barrier for international athletes coming to the United States is you don't know as an American coach if the results that you're receiving are authentic. There are a lot of athletes and coaches and race directors, meet directors that might doctor results because they want to help their kids. They want to get them opportunities. So there's some reluctance to believe all the results that you see unless it comes from a really reputable national championship or something. And likewise, the academic challenge of recruiting international kids that are coming from a different system, where you're not sure if all of the classes that they took are going to make them eligible, and there's always a back and forth with that. So what we'll be able to offer here through Corvuss is, obviously the American curriculum is going to be much easier for those folks to gain admissibility and have their transcripts evaluated fairly. And then athletically, I and Coach Daulton as well, we've been in the system for many, many years. We have a reputation. If we are able to contact coaches and say, no, this is a legitimate student athlete, we've been working with them, training them. We even, for athletes at a certain level, we may have an opportunity to take them to meets in the United States and have them seen in person. We're not allowed to do tryouts. That's one thing that, universities are not allowed to try out athletes. So you can't bring a prospective student in and say, okay, run your 100 meters, show me what you got. You have to watch them only in legitimate competition. So we may have an opportunity to bring them over and compete at a competition where a American university coach could see them in person and see what we're seeing. Our philosophy is to find the best fit for the student athlete. My goal is to work with student athletes and their families to support what they're doing in their academic institution, to give them the best opportunity and connections to maximize their potential in reaching university. Exactly 1 year ago, I made my first trip down to Mumbai to host the clinics there. We did 3 or 4 different clinics over the span of a week and got to work with many, many kids. And it was a really wonderful experience for me. It was my first trip to India. So it was an amazing experience. The young people were physically, I could tell they were on par with what we see here in the United States for kids the same age group. Unfortunately, a lot of these kids that show such promise are having to choose between academic or athletic pursuit when they get to grade 9 or 10, but we don't believe that they should be separated. I was hoping to be able to come down this spring in person and meet some folks on campus and have another open house and have another training clinic. Unfortunately, we're all dealing with this global pandemic that's changed a lot of our lives. Our philosophy, with our athletes here has been just focus on staying healthy, making sure, when we come out the other side of this, we're able to go back to training and you're not going to be injured. If you just do nothing, if you stay home and, watch a lot of Netflix, you're going to, unfortunately lose the fitness that you did have. We just want to keep the body moving in a way that it allows us to start training seriously when this eventually passes. Understand you're not going to come out of this and run PBs. You're going to have to come out of this and be mentally prepared to start working and excited to start working. What am I looking forward to? What goals can I set for myself? And it doesn't have to only be athletics. You can do it. Maybe academics are, compromised right now also, and you're not able to do, as much as you would like, get the tutoring you may like, get to the classes that you would like because of the lockdown. So what goals can I set for myself in the short, medium, and long term? Use this time to become a student of the sport. One of the things, Randy mentioned was, what things how do we differentiate our kids from other kids when it comes to recruiting and placing them in placing them in university settings. And one of the things I really try and get across to our kids, having been a long-time NCAA coach myself, what differentiated kids to me as a recruiter was that they were students of the sport. Not only that they were physically talented and could run fast or jump far or whatever the case was, but that they understood the sport. They watched videos, and they were familiar with the top athletes in their age group. They were familiar with the top athletes in their country. They were familiar and had some perspective with what good quality performances are across the globe, so that, maybe you're a big fish in a small pond and you're winning races in your local community. But are you on par with, your state or your national or an international level? So maybe do a little research during this time and look around. If your goal eventually is to go to the NCAA, we can help point you in direction. Do some research and see. There's tons of YouTube videos out there for technique and block starts, and really try and work on your craft in any way you can. And then, of course, we want to maintain fitness. So I just want to finish by, again, mentioning how important it is to maintain your fitness, not necessarily game ready, meet ready, race ready fitness, but general fitness, strength, flexibility, all the things that you can work on at home. Coach Daulton's gonna talk about some specifics. And we'll have a coach on site, and Coach Daulton, and we'll work together. But he's going to be there every day. He's going to know, what you're seeing. He's going to be seeing what you're doing, know how to fix it. We're going to communicate about those things. But my goal personally is to use our experience and contacts to help take those athletes that he's training so well and bring them to the United States to be successful at the next level. He comes from a sprint, mostly a sprint jump decathlon background, and I come from more of a middle distance background. So we have all the events covered in our personal experiences and coaching expertise. We've done it all. So we're going to collaborate and discuss that. One of the things that we're working on right now is to find the best digital platform so we can share information back and forth in real time with what the athletes are doing on a daily basis. And parents would have an opportunity, obviously the athletes themselves, to see that as well. So an athlete and a coach and a parent and me here in California, we can see, like, okay, today the athlete is supposed to do a certain workout, and then as it's completed and the results go in, we can all see and evaluate. So yeah, just trying to use a sensible approach to training. I think every coach has their nuance. I want to supply more of the philosophy and have Coach Daulton supply, kind of the specifics when it comes to sprints and jumps, and I'll do the specifics when it comes to middle and long distance.
I'm Coach Teaford. I am currently in Newport News, Virginia. I coach and have been coaching for the last couple of years at Christopher Newport University, which is also my alma mater. I two-time All-American in the 200 meter. Which I'm very proud of, and I'm super excited to be a part of Corvuss and to really get on campus and work with all of the athletes there through all of their struggles and successes. But you want to come out of this in a situation where you're ready to start training again, right? You're not trying to jump back into competition. You're ready to start training again. First one's going to be high knees in place. That's pretty simple. You're just going to be up tall, and you're just going to get your knees up as high as you can for the desired amount of time, right? The next one's going to be mountain climbers. It's going to be the same thing, except you're going to be prone. You're going to be in push-up position, and you're going to have one leg up, and you're going to switch them, bring your knee up to your chest, right? Then you're gonna have jumping jacks. It's pretty simple, just up and down. Right, keep your legs and your arms moving in, moving together. Right, and we have, take a look, line hops. Right, so you can use any line. You can create a line with a string or a shoe or a sock, or you can just imagine one. Right, but you're just gonna hop back and forth over a line, again for the desired amount of time. Right, then you have squat jumps and lunge jumps. Those are going to be a little bit more intense. All right, for squat jumps, you're going to make sure you're coming down nice and low. Arms are going to be back. You're going to jump up, and then as soon as you land, you're going to get down nice and low again and jump up as high as you can again. All right. Right? And then lunge jumps are going to be very similar, except one leg at a time, and you're going to switch in the air. All right, so you're going to be down here, up, switch, up. First one is going to be push-ups and then squats. The push-ups are pretty simple. Keep your hands right in line with your chest. Right, keep your elbows back. We don't want them coming out too much. Drop all the way down to the floor, all the way back up. All right, make sure you're getting your elbows straight every single time. Squats, similar to our squat jumps, except you're not jumping, right? You're going to want to put your hands out in your head because it really forces you to brace your core a little bit more. All right, keep your hands down. You can roll your shoulders. Shoulders are going to want to roll forward a little bit. We don't want that. So keep your hands on your head a little bit easier, right? And you're going to sit back like you're sitting in the chair, right? Try to get your hips back as far as you can, all the way down, all the way up. Sit-ups. If you need somebody to hold your feet or you need weight pressure on your feet, you can use a backpack, some books. You can hike them up underneath the chair, or you can have somebody hold them down, right? But you can be down, arms across your chest. Don't put your hands behind your head. You'll see that a lot. But we really don't want you cranking on your neck too much when you're trying to sit up. Right, so it's a lot better to put your arms over your shoulders. Okay. Sit all the way up. All right, and try to keep some tension through your core as you're coming back down too. A lot of people just lay down. It's a lot better if you keep some tension through your core as you're coming down a little bit slower. Right? Lunges, these are, so again, like our lunge jumps. You're gonna have one leg forward, one leg really far back, but you're not jumping, and you're not switching your legs this time. All right, so you're gonna just come right here, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. That's a split squat. I had intended on putting that in before, but I decided not to. Lunges, you're gonna be stepping back instead, right? You're like that, all the way down, all the way up. And then you'll switch legs at the end of each interval, and I'll go over how to set up your exercises and times and such here in a minute. Glute bridges and step-ups. You're going to be lying down flat on your back, right? Your feet are going to be about shoulder width apart, and you're going to push down into the ground. Push your hips up as high as you can, way up. You're going to want to squeeze your hamstrings and your glutes. You feel a little bit of tension in your hamstring and in your glute and in your lower back, right? You're going to come down as soon as you touch, right back up. Right, we don't want to spend a whole lot of time lying on the ground. That's not really productive, right? So we want to be nice and high, hold up there for a couple seconds, down, right back up, hold, down, right back up. All right, and then step ups, anything that you can find to step up on. I'll use my chair out here for a demonstration, right? We want to be here, step up, right? One leg at a time, and you can switch after when the timer's up, right? All right, so those are the strength-based exercises. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you again so that you can see what I am going to be going over next, right? You can pick all the ones on the left or all the ones on the right, depending on what you want to get out of your workout that day. Or you can mix it up. You're going to want to do 45 seconds on, 45 seconds off, 3 to 5 minutes of rest between rounds for 3 rounds. And that'll end up being about 30 minutes of work, right? So, and which is pretty good for everybody's situation. This is an example workout. I picked 3 from each side and alternated them. So you have a more fitness-based one and a strength-based one, and they're going to alternate. So 45 seconds of knees in place, rest for 45 seconds, lunges, and follow that all the way through. Once you've done that whole round, and you're going to rest for about 3 minutes. Now, as Randy was saying earlier, a warm-up is incredibly important for injury prevention, right? Amongst other things, but primarily in stay-at-home situations, injury prevention. So what I've actually done is I've set up exercises that are commonly used in warm-ups. And that way that your first round actually acts as a warm-up, right? And then as you get more tired, then it kind of starts to turn into a workout on its own, right? So I've kind of included that. If you feel that it's insufficient, then it's perfectly fine to do other stuff before or add in a 4th round if you feel like you need to get more work. If you want to do your own warm-up, there's no problem with that at all. What you're going to want to do is make sure that you are getting exposure to all the major muscle groups. All right, so primarily the hip and knee joints, your quads, your hamstrings, and your glutes. You're going to want to make sure those are getting warmed up nicely. And you're going to want to make sure you get your heart rate up, whether you're just doing some jumping jacks for a while or some line hops or what have you, whatever's available. If you have a treadmill available and you want to run for 5 to 10 minutes to warm up, there's nothing wrong with that either.